Okay, so after a little bit of thinking on it for a couple of days, I realized that I didn't like the way that I actually introduced this whole tone production series. It was one big long rambly video that sort of taught you how to hold your bow, but not really how to use it. And then I like slapped another 5-minute video in there teaching you how to use it. But I also forgot a crucial element there. So instead, I'm going to break it down into smaller, more comprehensive little video segments, starting with bow care. So tightening, loosening the bow, and how to rosin and such. So first things first, in order to be able to hold your bow properly and produce a good tone, it must be tightened properly. This is to say nothing of the fact that you should probably have fresh hair on your bow. If your bow has not been rehaired in the last year, at least, then it probably needs fresh hair on it. Not only does the hair break through playing sometimes, but all hair has scales on it, and after lots and lots of playing, the scales on your bow hair break down, and the scales are kind of what hold the rosin. So if the scales have been wiped off, then it won't hold rosin very well, and if it doesn't hold rosin very well, it won't play very well. So first thing is making sure that you have a good amount, a good fresh hair on your bow, and you have a good amount of it. So you want to look at your bow and make sure the hair goes from one side to the other. If you see a whole bunch of frayed chunks, or you have a very small strip of hair, then it definitely needs to be rehaired. Too little bow hair can actually warp the bow because it's pulling the tension on one side or the other. Even if it's stripped down the middle, it's not supporting the stick properly. And if you get a warped stick, you're in big trouble. Your bow will not play properly. That said, stick warpage and damage can also occur from leaving your bow tightened, and then it getting over tight, and it can cause also breakage in the bow. At this very smallest point here, the spline. If your bow breaks at the spline, it can be repaired, but it is a difficult and expensive repair, and your bow will never play the same again because of the added weight up here and the oh golly, what do you call it? The integrity has been compromised of the bow stick. So you want to leave your bow loosened when you are not playing. If it's in the case, if you're taking a practice break and for a good amount of time, loosen your bow. So this is what a tightened bow looks like, and this is what a loosened bow looks like. And you notice that I'm holding them in the middle. We're looking at the middles of the bow right now, because if I could hold them this way, the tip and the frog of these bows, they have space. There's always going to be space at the tip and the frog of a loosened bow or a properly tightened bow. So you always check for tightness in the middle. And what I tell my students is about a pencil's width between the hair and the stick. So you want to hold your bow, and I hold it in my left hand and turn with my right because I'm right hand dominant. So you want to hold, take hold of the screw and turn it counterclockwise 3 or 4 times, just so that you can start seeing the hair spread away from the stick, and then check it with your pencil. If your bow does not tighten, you should send it to a luthier, because there might be an internal problem in your frog. This is the screw. It goes into an eyelet in the frog, and one or both of those things could be stripped. So you need to have your bow looked at. If you're having trouble turning the screw, sometimes I take my shirt and I'll grab the screw with that and turn that way. Or what I might do, I am loosening my bow in between all of this. I'm not just constantly tightening, by the way. What I do sometimes is hold the stick of the bow with my right hand, and then actually turn the bow, grabbing the frog, turn the bow clockwise, because sometimes it's easier to hold the tiny slippery thing and turn a larger thing than hold the larger thing and try to turn the tiny slippery thing. So there's a couple of ways of tightening your bow. You can use the same things for loosening your bow. If you've gotten your bow properly tight, you've played for a while, but you're having trouble loosening it, hold the screw and turn the bow counterclockwise until the hair is pretty close to the stick. It does not have to touch the stick. It also doesn't have to be like this loose and hang down, because most cases have a bow spinner in them, and if your hair is this loose, then it can actually, the spinner can slip through this little spot down here because there's not enough tension to actually, like, the bow can just like jump off. Your case gets bumped and it'll jump off the spinner, and then that can damage the face of your instrument because the frog will jump down and start bashing against the front of your instrument. So just about this should be fine. If your bow loosens to about here, that's okay too. It doesn't have to like touch the stick. It just needs to be nowhere near your playing tightness. So now that we've learned how to tighten and loosen our bows, let's go on to the next video of how to hold the bow.